glad to see you all. And before we start, I would like you all to make some applause for our orgs. They made really a lot of work to get running this event, and I really appreciate their efforts. So please. Yeah, guys, you probably expected to see Ingvar here. I am not Ingvar. My name is Dennis, and that's my GitHub profile. Well, since GitHub added a description field, that means we don't need Facebook or LinkedIn anymore to represent ourselves. So, as you may see from my GitHub page, I am working as a part-time at Logic. And other time I spend working on my open source projects and organizing local communities. And I'm studying at university, yes, I'm student. Also, I'm founder of Not School Chernivtsi. So if you have any question about Not School, what is this, or if you want to establish a new chapter in your city, come talk to me. I will be glad to share my experience as a founder, as a mentor. And by the way, that guy, Terry, raise your hand. On the next weekend, we have Not School meetup in Ternopil. So if you're from Ternopil, ask this guy about it. Also, we're trying to make KharkivJS meetup. Stay tuned at this Facebook page. And if you want to see such long space while you're talking about something, let me know. I'll do it for you. So, as you may see from my GitHub page, I'm a JavaScript developer which is passionate in shell scripting. It's working? Right? Nice. So, my talk, I will tell you about both of these things. I will tell you about the shells and about JavaScript. The shells written in JavaScript. And I see something in your eyes. You definitely think, what the hell is that? What is that guy talking about? Is he crazy? Does he really mean that things like bash or DSH can be written in JavaScript? It's bullshit. Well, we have enough useless things written in JavaScript. There are a lot of GitHub repos, tons of NPM packages that do exactly nothing. Isarray, leftpad, and so on. But, wait a minute. I have 2 points why you should listen to me. Well, first, take it easy. This talk is just an overview of existing solutions in world of JavaScript shells. Most of these things that I will talk about is not even stable yet, and nobody knows when it will be. This actually sort of things that we do just because we can. It's sort of thing that just is, it's just a proof of concept. So don't take it too seriously. The second, when I talk about shell, I usually mean the tool that we use every day. And shell is, when we talk about shell, is usually about ecosystem, about plugins, themes, auto-completions, customization, managing of dependency, all of this. That's what we'll be talking about. So, don't take it too seriously, okay? Are we okay? Yeah? Fine. Well, when we talk about shell in JavaScript, you definitely think about the most popular package on NPM that contains the shell word in its name. And that's the shell.js. It have 4.8K stars on GitHub. And this package is used in projects like ESLint, JSHint, Yeoman, and many, many more. Yeah, you know about it, right? If you ever write a complex gulp or ground config, you definitely use this package. If you don't know, I'll explain it by a few examples. Well, here I import the shell.js module, and in a stage we will have an object that have methods which corresponds to Unix commands. So here we just check if git command exists. If it not, we write error message and exit with special code. Then we do some operations with file system, replace this string build version by version in all JS files, and then commit the changes. That's it. The cool thing is that we can import this package globally. So all of these methods will be available as global functions. So this will look more like regular shell script. And the world of JavaScript shell is a very strange world there where CoffeeScript still lives. So this code is the same as previous one, but written in CoffeeScript. Why we need CoffeeScript? Because we don't need parentheses and curly brackets, and this will look even more like regular shell script. And to compare, on the next slide, I have actual shell script, and here is a script written using shell.js. The difference is that this script will work everywhere. On Windows, on Unix, doesn't matter. And Bash will work only where you have Bash. So Windows out. But shell.js is not about shell at all. If you think that this is a shell, you're wrong. You're definitely wrong. But if this is not a shell, then what is shell exactly? Who knows what is shell? Yeah? Wikipedia says that shell is a user interface for access to operating system services. But usually when we say shell, we mean a command line interface. So that's the definition of command line interface on Wikipedia. But I prefer to say that command line interface is an interface that reads input line by line, where each of lines is a command. Then it executes this command and produces the output. So how can we build a shell using JavaScript and Node.js API? Well, who knows what is this? Raise your hand. Who knows? You know? Why? Okay, this line called shebang. That's instruction. You can put it on top of your file, and this instruction will tell the computer what interpreter should be used to run this file. Usually, instead of Node, you will see Bash, but if we run file using Node, we put Node there. So if you create a file, put this line on top of it, and write a console log, it works. Then, if we run this file, we'll get this message. This file will be run using Node. So now we know how to run. But how can we create an interface? How can we read input line by line? Well, I think you know about Redline module in Node.js. This module provides a way to create an interface that read data from readable stream one line at a time. Just look at this example. Well, here I import Redline module. Then I create an interface that takes the input from stdin and put output to stdout. As a prompt character, I use arrow. Then I ask user, the prompt user. Then I add some event handlers for line event. Line event is emitted whenever we write some text and hit enter, for example. So we just put this line and ask user again. If we close the shell, we will write a goodbye message and exit with 0 code. So this will look like this. Shell simple. Here it is. If I write lol, it produces lol ls, and so on. We have a history, and if we close this, we have a goodbye message, and this is green, and that means that we have a correct exit code. So control codes. If you know, there are things like control codes. That's a special sequences that tells terminal what to do, what color should be used, what style of text should be used. It should be bolded or line through. Terminal should move cursor forward by one word or backward, and so on. But there are three special ones: the Control Z, Control C, and Control D. And because of Redline interface is a usual stream, we have a pause and resume events. Pause is emitted whatever stream is paused, and receive seek count event. I'll explain what it stands for. Resume is emitted wherever a stream is resumed after pause. But unlike common streams, we have a special events called seekint, seekTSTP, seekcont. Strange names. Well, seekint means signal interruption. This emitted whatever we hit Control C. That's a special code that tells we and to write text in terminal. seekTSTP means signal terminal stop. This event is emitted wherever process is gonna be sent to the background using Control Z key binding. A seekcont is stand for signal continue, and this event is emitted whatever process is gonna be brought back from the background to the foreground using fg Unix command. Here is a code that add event handlers to this event. Well, previous code is the same. We just added a pause event. We just put message readline is paused, tested out. Resume, readline is resumed. Seekcont, we write that this message is was emitted and ask user to prompt. Then when seekint, that means that we get a signal interruption signal. We ask user if he really wants to exit, and if answer yes, we close this process. If not, we prompt user again. I'll show how it works. Well, shell evented works as a previous one, but if I hit Control C, I get this message. I say no. If I hit Control Z, this process will be suspended. And if I move it back from the background, you see that readline is paused. That means that paused event was emitted. Then seekcont, signal to continue, and readline is resumed. That stream was resumed, and history is still the same. Are you sure you want to exit? Yes. Sure. Whoops. Yeah. So now we have a shell. The question is, how can we execute the commands? Well, there are two ways. First, we can implement these commands using JavaScript, and shell.js can be useful here. We can use shell.js as an implementation of our commands. The second way is to pass the command to the actual shell, to the real shell. We can execute this command using sh, bash, etc., etc. For execution, we can use shell process module, and this module provides an ability to spawn shell processes. Here's an example. Here I just change the event line event handler, and I create a new command that will be executed using bash. If error occurs, we put this error to stdout and prompt user. If we get a result, we put this result to stdout. If this command is done, we ask user to prompt. Well, here's how it works. Shell, yeah. If I hit ls, I get the list of folders. I can use flags, it works. I can use pipes, grep, yeah. Let's create a JavaScript file, for example, test.js, yeah. And I can filter result using grep. So pipes works. Yeah, works. Cool. Clear, works. Wanna exit? Yes. So, got it, right? Do you understand how shell in JS works in general, right? Nice. That's just an explanation. Remember that. That's not. Don't take it too seriously because there remain a lot of things to fix and improve here. This is just an explanation how it works in general. Yeah, there are existing solutions that already have implemented all these things. These solutions help us to avoid pitfalls. They give us rich APIs with simple syntaxes and convenient defaults. And one of the most powerful of them is Worple. This project have 3.5 stars on GitHub, and it helps to build command line applications. And here, when I said application, I do mean applications. Why? Because Worple helps to build us, rich applications that will have all of these applications will have its own copy of environment. Worple helps us to create customizable prompts. All of these applications will have a persistent command history. Help page will be generated automatically. We can pipe commands. We have built-in tabbed autocompletions. And we can create command-specific autocompletions. And one of the most powerful things is that we can create custom event listener for our events. That's really cool. Just read about it. Here's a simple example with Worple. I took it from their sites. Well, here I import Worple package. I create a new instance of shell, and I define 3 commands on this shell. Well, I define say, that takes words, and just this command just join all of these words and put to stdout. Then upper command take all of characters to uppercase, and color command paint the text in specific color. Then I define a delimiter, which is prompt character, and show this shell. Well, this will work like here. Worple. Yep. This prompt character, right? Let's see what can we do. Well, help command and exit command is generated automatically. Say, upper, and color, that's the command that we defined previously. Well, let's say hello KharkivJS works. If we pipe it in, for example, yellow, oops, say hello KharkivJS, color yellow. Yep, works. History works, and control codes works. We can upper, by the way, auto completions, tab at auto completions works. Upper, yeah, and color, for example, blue, works fine. And if we hit and exit, it will be out. Well, that's what we call immersive command line applications. They don't exit after first command. They have isolated command line environment that doesn't depend on of your underlying terminal and doesn't depend of your system. So you can run it on Windows, on any system, actually, because this doesn't depend by shell-specific code, by system APIs. This just write it in JavaScript. Also, these applications have own state and own suite of commands. As example, tools that built using Worple, it's cache. That's one of the favorite things for me. Just look at this GIF. What cache is? This just command line applications that have cross-platform implementation of Unix shell commands implemented in ECMAScript 6. That's on Windows. You run cache, and you have a Unix prompt on Windows that works on JavaScript. But what? Nice. Well, these commands are already implemented. One of the coolest things is that you can vote from the next command, and of course, that's open source. If you want, you can implement a command by yourself and send a pull request. Here's one of my favorite things in the cache, because you understand what is going on here? Yeah? There is a Windows command. And I pipe this command, output of this command, to grep, which is Unix command, and then pipe to the sort, which is Unix command. We can pipe result from Windows commands to the Unix command using cache. That's just blows my mind. And another one thing is that we can use template literals. We can write shell script, wrap in into backticks, require cache, and that will work using JavaScript. The second one is awkward. The philosophy of this shell is that everything is an object. I'll just show you an example. Just look at this. You will be impressed. For example, I have ps command. And what if I want to get first column and, for example, time column? Let's write ps, parentheses, and after parentheses, I can use array methods like map. Oops, awkward. Yeah, that's better. Clear? ps, yeah? Yeah. Well, ps, map, row, and I take zero, the first one, and time. 0, 1. Then I write for each to put the result to std out. We'll get this. That may seem like overkill, but actually that's cool. Potentially we can do more with that because we can pipe not just strings from command to command. We can pipe data in objects in, well, every structured data here can be represented using JavaScript array, and we can do whatever we want with this data. We can put to the file and then process it as we want. That was were my favorite ones, but there are more. Well, Shell.js have a SHX project. This is just a command line wrapper around Shell.js Unix commands. And you can install it and use in your package JSON, for example. Also, our favorite JavaScript developer, TJ, has created probably the first shell in Node.js. On repo, he has written that this is just a proof of concept. But if you're interested, you can go to this repo and just read the sources. That's cool to understand how the shell works in general. Also, JSSH. You probably already heard about Node OS. That's an operation system written in JavaScript using Node. Well, JSSH is a default shell there. I have a proposal here. Well, what if we will have such kind of proxy for shell that will take the input, put this input through the list of middlewares. Middlewares can change the command depending on command itself and environment. Then this command will be passed to the actual shell, and output that we will get will be passed through the list of output middlewares. These middlewares can do whatever with input, it's like post CSS, yeah, you know what it is, and then just write a std out. What benefit can we achieve using this approach? Well, we can create an input validation. For example, we can check if user not trying to drop whole system, for example, prevent such things. We can create a syntax aligning on the fly, like this, for example. We can do after closing for brackets, parentheses, quotes, backticks, and so on. We can create a browser-like after completions in your terminal. I think you know what is fish, right? Funny shell. Well, also we can filter the output by keywords, by column, by row, as we want. We can actually do whatever we want with output. Then all of these will be cross-platform and shell independent. So that's probably can works on SH or Bash, because this will be written in JavaScript. Well, conclusion. All of these things are not stable. It's just an experiment, but you should at least read about it to understand what is this, and better just try on weekends to play with these shells. It's really cool things. Demos from this talk will be available here in this repo, git.io/js-shell.js-demos. If you want to learn how to write shell scripts, I have a small handbook. If it's easier to you to learn in practice, try Learn Your Bash Workshopper. This is just a bunch of exercises you can read and try and practice. Also, take a look at Awesome Shell repo There are a lot of useful resources there. So thank you for having me. Yeah. If you have any questions or you want to give me feedback, you can find me by this username almost in any social network. So ping me.